Here is our Scratch challenge. You can see we have a list of 18 students and we also have a list of their marks. We need to put these lists in order so the students with the highest marks are at the top and in order going down to the lowest mark. This is the Scratch challenge. We're going to use the bubble sort algorithm to complete this task. If you want to know more, visit this website, and if you want a step-by-step guide of the bubble sort, here's a video that you can watch. The challenge involves two lists. We have a list of students, we have 18 students, and we have some random marks. Now they're not in order. So we want to put the marks in order with the highest mark at the top, the lowest mark at the bottom. But we don't just want to order the marks, we want to move the students with the marks. So the students are in order of the student with the highest mark at the top and the student with the lowest at the bottom. This is our challenge. And you can see if we run a program, that's what the program does. So this is our goal. Now the bubble sort works by changing the higher number to swapping it with a lower number if it's above. So if we have two numbers and they're not in the correct order, we swap them. We keep doing that throughout the list and eventually it will be in order. So we can start off with the basics of changing two numbers. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at the marks and we're going to compare the mark that's in the index position in the list with the number, the mark, that's in the position of index plus 1. So for example, you can see here place 1 has 56 and the place after that, index plus 1, has 63. So you want to change them. Now if we just put the 63 in the first place, then the 56 would be gone. So we need to put the 56 into a temporary variable, move the 63 up, and then put the temporary variable with 56, put the value into the second position. So that's how we're going to swap numbers. So you can see here, we start off, we set the index at 1, then we create the temp variable and give it the value of the index position, number 1 of marks. Then we replace that position with index plus 1, so the 63 goes into the first position where 56 is, and then we replace the second position with 56 from the temporary variable. So if we run that, you can see 63 has moved up to the first place. So these are the blocks to change two values around. Now we only want to do that if the second value is higher. So we're going to use an if statement. So we get our if block. So we can put the code inside the if block. We're going to set the index before that. So now we want to check to see if the second number is higher than the first number. So essentially index plus 1 is higher than index itself. Now we have to be slightly careful here because we're not comparing index plus 1 to index. We're comparing the mark, the position of the list mark, which is index, with the position index plus 1. So if you look at the numbers to the side in marks, you can see the first number, number 1, has the value 56. The second number, number 2, has a value 63. So the index is the 1, 2, 3 number and the value is the inside 56, 63, etc. So now we use our if statement and we can check, and yes, it changes when the second number is higher. Now that's fine for just comparing two numbers at the top, but we want to go through all of our lists. Well, we can do that by just moving the index from 1 to 2 to 3, etc. until we get to the end of the list. So we can do that. So we're going to increase the index by 1 and we're going to loop, we're not going to loop to the end of the list. We're going to loop to the end of the list bar 1, because if we're comparing an index with index plus 1, we don't need to go to the bottom of the list. We need to go to the one just before it. So we can do a repeat loop with the length of the list marks minus 1. And remember, we put our code in and we want to increase the index plus 1 at the end of it, which we do after our if statement. So now, with our blocks, we should go through all of the code with to the end of the list bar 1. So we're going to compare all the numbers inside the list. Okay, so we can do that now and we can check that works. Okay, something else that we need to do is we've got the marks in order, but we have to get the students in order as well. So let's start creating the student list so we can start adding values. So we just do some testing first, so we can test with some values like ABC, then we can put them in the list and we can see if our values are moving correctly. So we can copy the code from the moving the marks, put it into the students. We're going to use a different variable, my variable, but essentially we've got the same code, and when the marks move, the students will move as well. Okay, now we've tested that, now we can start looking at putting in our proper students and marks. So we can do that using import. So let's start off by removing all the values. So we delete all from marks and delete all from student. So we can do that using a block. And now we want to import. So we can right click on the list, and then, although you can't see it in the video, this we can import from files from our computer, the list of students and the list of marks. These are available on the Alps Academy website. Now, for some reason, it's given us length 19 rather than 18. So we can delete that 19th member of marks and also delete the 19th member of students, because we don't want any blank list members, if you like, in the list. We don't want to have any empty spaces. Okay, so now we've got our two lists. Now we want to not only just go through the list once, we want to loop through until it's complete. So let's test this and use repeat 50 times and see what happens. We're going to start it with the green flag, put all our code blocks inside, and let's just test it to see what happens. So we can see our lists, you can see the student order, perhaps you can see which student matches the marks to check that it works correctly. And when we run our program, let's run it, you can see it's all changing and the marks are moving, the highest ones go to the top, and it's moving the students as well. So you can see the marks are in order and it's correctly moved the students with the marks. So we have achieved our goal. Why not try the other two sorting algorithms? You've got the selection sort and the insertion sort. Can you do them?